Okay. So from this position here, got the old cross because I want to defend the trunk. The thing with a high mount here, and I feel this myself, for Rob to start looking for a strangle from here, it's a bit of a nervous thing because he knows he's got to take his bases off the floor to get grit. Yeah? But that's why, even then, I ideally want him further down. And again, like I've mentioned this before when we've been doing positional stuff, the way to get out of tight spots is to bump, wriggle, bounce. Right? And not necessarily in that order. Okay? If you resign yourself to being here, think, right, I'm just going to bridge, and I go, and go back down, and I just right in the same spot, it's easy for him to deal with that. But from this position, when I start, just bumping, bouncing, elevating, literally, there's no pattern to what I've done. But the advantage with that is, there's no way you can predict what to do next, how to react. Where do I grab, what do I move, where do I lean? Because he doesn't know which direction I'm going to go off in yet. I've mentioned this before, some of you might remember. Years ago, when I was young, when my daughter was a toddler, there used to be this, I don't know what it was called, but it was like this ball with different colour faces. It used to bounce around like this. Some of you will remember it. That's what I have in my head when I think of this movement. Because there's just no predicting and no reason to it. So it's hard to think, right, if I put that there, I'll block that. If I grab him there, that will stop that. It's like, there we go. As I bounced, and because I kept bouncing him before he could land his weight again, got him up where I could literally scoot out the back. Now I know it's not that easy when somebody's really making a good effort, they're ready for you doing something, even if they don't know what. So they're going to try and grip, and try and relax the weight down, and try and be heavy on you. So it's not necessarily that hard, but that still works. Likewise, if you've got to get into a tight spot, so if somebody's blocking and you need to get an underhook, just put the feet back and sit and jiggle it through. Or somebody's looking for, getting a grip on you. You bump it. If you use strength, it's likely you're going to use a lot of effort, and you're going to go in the direction that the other person predicts. Now, if they know that you're going to push that way and they just block and resist against it, you're making their job relatively easy. And to get the advantage, you might have to use twice as much effort as you could have done with it. So that's why when we talk about using two directions going with things, that becomes important. With this, with what I've done there, I got to admit, I can't how many I've got going. I try to get as many different directions going as possible. Okay? So. Now what can sometimes happen when you're in this situation, you get to here, you bridge, and your timing's not right, or they're really tightening with the legs, you go here, and they turn and block into you. The first thing to do not push with this arm. You're going to get it on ball straight away. Tuck it. Okay? What I'm doing here is, I put my elbow in, and I bring my knee up. Grab the hand, bumping one way, turning the other. Okay? So as I've got to there, and I make a mistake, the timing's not right, or I haven't got, this is a problem, if I'm not high enough, if I'm not out enough, I can't, unless I get another magical bend in my arm, I'm not going to get my elbow in. That's why I need to get to here, so I can get this elbow in position. So, in a bit of a rush, or the fact that he's really gripping on tight, I get to there and I make a mistake, I bridge, he turns, straight away, tuck. Okay? Defend this collar, because he might be trying to reach under, maybe looking for a bow and arrow choke possibly. So I defend that collar, this arm's in. So grabbing my own collar is not a bad idea. Burying my elbow under his leg makes it hard for him to fish it out if he wanted to go for an arm bar. Does that make sense? So, even if Rob hasn't put his arm down, watch, I grab here, and I bump. I want him to offer his arm. Okay? Because when I break out and go that way, I want him to feel he's going this way, so that I can bump him that. And the second I get up, I'll stuff that if I can. If he's fell off like Rob has, I'm going to put his own arm in his way. I'm not going to get up doing this, because I might get up straight into with him, I'd probably go up into a triangle. If I stuff his hand down there as I get up, even if we end up in a neutral position, which is better, me being here and him being there, or him being in mount, hooking an arm, or grabbing a collar. I'll take this one. At least we're on a level playing field now, not where I'm trying to dig myself out of the proverbial shit. Okay? That is a technical term. so I'm not just using bad language. Like, you watch Kurtos the Angler, you do this stuff like that all the time. He's not better at that than me. Okay, so one more. So these, we start to look at a little bit at what ifs. So I bump and I get to here and I go, and the guy's quick. But as I turn and I feel it's gone wrong, I tuck in. Maybe grab my own collar. Yeah, his arms down. But again, I'm just looking at the cloth. I'd love to have hold of his wrist so he can't use that, but this will do. Because for me to make a play for his wrist, I've either got to use this hand, which leaves that collar open. So if the gi's been undone while you're holding, you could be in trouble. Yeah, well, I've got to take this hand out. If I take this hand out, he can attack this arm. Or here, I grab the cloth. This. So I might hip escape a little bit more up. See this bump? And as he sits his weight back, I escape my hips and bridge. Straight up. Keeping hold of this. Because I might be able to just stop him getting a grip. Enough for me to get balance. You'll find, with experienced people, you'll get a lot of situations where there's a scramble element to it. You both kind of know what you're going for, and it's sometimes who can get there first. So it's not quite who does the right thing first. You know, it makes you feel like you've done the wrong thing. It can be that position. But do you see what I've done there? Two directions. I bump Rob that way for him to sit his weight back, and as he does, I go with that and come out that way. So I'm using his reaction as part of my escape plan. But I've got to create that reaction in the first place. So a little bit like I was talking about yesterday, this is following on from that. Does that make sense? This, keep the arms tucked. Because even if you think, right, I can't get a grip and I can't get out, you've not left everything blatantly open that the guy can just go, thank you very much, or not. They've still got to work at things. So even if they start leaning in and looking at grips, bump them, bounce and turn them over. Okay? You might occasionally roll them over and think, oh, I'm out of it, and find that you get caught in an armbar or a triangle. But at least you've done something to prolong the situation and try and get out of it. I don't advise that you just sit there and wait, because the other guy might be impatient as well.